In the dark corridors of global power, where whispers carry more weight than declarations, one name inspires a unique blend of fear and reverence: Mossad. It is an agency shrouded in mystery, synonymous with audacious operations and ruthless efficiency. Its agents are ghosts, footprints erased before they're even made, successes celebrated in silence, failures buried in the deepest vaults of state secrecy. The myth of Mossad is omnipresent, omniscient, an invisible shield protecting a nation perpetually on the brink. This mystique is not an accident, it is a carefully cultivated weapon. Mossad was not born in a vacuum. It was forged in the crucible of war. Desperation, the existential threat that defined Israel's founding. On December 13, 1949, Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion signed a secret letter. This letter established the Central Institute for Coordination, the precursor to Mossad. Its purpose was clear and urgent: to provide a centralized intelligence body capable of operating beyond the nation's borders. Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq. Israel was isolated, outnumbered, fighting for its very existence. Conventional intelligence gathering was not enough. It needed an agency that could see what was coming and, if necessary, act preemptively. The early years were a frantic struggle for survival. A small nation of traumatized refugees facing powerful armies determined to wipe it from the map. Ben-Gurion recognized the need for a separate, elite foreign intelligence and covert action organization, a spear to complement the shield. The first director, Reuven Shiloh, was tasked with building this weapon from scratch. By 1960, Adolf Eichmann, the logistical mastermind of the Holocaust, had vanished. For 15 years, he lived a quiet, anonymous life in Argentina under the name Ricardo Clement. For the world, he was a ghost. But for Mossad, and for Israel, a nation built from the ashes of the Holocaust, he was a debt that had to be paid. The hunt for Eichmann became an obsession. The search was painstaking. Isser Harel personally oversaw the mission. He assembled a team: specialists in surveillance, specialists in forgery, specialists in abduction. They traveled to Argentina under deep cover. For weeks, they surveilled the modest house on Garibaldi Street. They studied his routines, his travel times, his habits. The abduction occurred the evening of May 11, 1960. Eichmann walked from the bus stop. A car appeared to break down in front of him. Mossad agents led by Rafi Eitan grabbed him. Eichmann screamed and struggled, was bundled into the car and subdued. He was taken to a safe house and held for 9 days. The agents interrogated him. He confessed his identity. Next came smuggling him out of Argentina, a country that would not extradite him. The plan: disguise him as an El Al crew member who'd fallen ill, sedate him, carry him aboard a special flight with an Israeli delegation. On May 21st, the drugged Eichmann in flight uniform was wheeled onto the plane. When the aircraft cleared Argentine airspace, Rafi Eitan reported, "The mole is in the hole." 2 days later, Ben-Gurion told the Knesset, Adolf Eichmann is in Israel. He would stand trial. The trial was broadcast worldwide, educating a new generation about the horrors of the Holocaust and cementing Mossad's unforgiving reputation. The world watched in horror in September 1972 as the Olympic Games in Munich became a stage for terror. Militants stormed the Olympic Village, taking 11 Israeli athletes and coaches hostage. The failed German rescue ended in a bloodbath, all 11 killed. For Israel, Munich was a national trauma. Golda Meir, her cabinet, made a solemn, secret decision. This act would not go unanswered. The codename Operation Wrath of God, a protracted, systematic campaign of vengeance, meant to deliver justice and spread terror and paranoia. Mission: not to capture, but to kill. Director Zivi Zamir mobilized the Kaidan unit, the bayonet, car bombs, booby-trapped devices, close-quarters shootings. These operations left a trail of bodies and fear. The Lillehammer affair, a mistaken killing in Norway. An innocent man was killed. Arrests exposed Mossad and sparked a diplomatic scandal. Operation Wrath of God continued for years and changed rules of engagement. On June 27, 1976, Air France Flight 139, flying from Tel Aviv to Paris, was hijacked by terrorists and forced to land in Entebbe, Uganda, which at the time was ruled by the brutal dictator Idi Amin, who honestly welcomed the hijackers. Once on the ground, The terrorists separated the passengers, releasing the non-Jews and holding over 100 Jewish and Israeli citizens hostage. For Israel, it was an impossible situation. Negotiating would mean surrendering to terror, but refusing could mean the massacre of more than 100 of its citizens. As diplomatic channels faltered, the Israeli government secretly started considering a military option. 4 C-130 Hercules transport planes would carry 100 commandos from the elite Sayeret Matkal unit. To fool the Ugandan soldiers, the lead plane carried a black Mercedes, an exact replica of Idi Amin's car. On the night of July 4, 1976, the Israeli force landed at Entebbe. The Mercedes rolled off the ramp and headed straight for the terminal. In a firefight that lasted just minutes, the commandos stormed the building, killed all the hijackers, and started evacuating the hostages. The only military casualty was Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu. 3 hostages were killed in the crossfire. The commandos and the freed hostages were quickly loaded back onto the planes, which flew to Nairobi for refueling before heading home to a jubilant Israel. Operation Entebbe was a stunning success, a testament to bravery, meticulous planning, and critical intelligence provided by Mossad. In the early 2000s, a new existential threat began to dominate Israeli strategic thinking: Iran's clandestine nuclear program. The prospect of a hostile regime acquiring atomic weapons was deemed unacceptable. While the world pursued diplomacy and sanctions, Israel, through Mossad, allegedly began waging a secret, undeclared war to delay and dismantle the Iranian program from within. The campaign was multifaceted: sabotage, assassination, cyber warfare. Between 2010 and 2012, at least 4 top scientists were assassinated in broad daylight on the streets of Tehran. The killings were designed not only to eliminate expertise, but to create fear and discourage others. Beyond assassinations, Mossad is believed to have orchestrated industrial sabotage by supplying faulty equipment and doctored blueprints through front companies. Perhaps the most audacious method was the Stuxnet worm, uncovered in 2010, malware engineered to cause physical destruction at Natanz. Stuxnet reportedly destroyed nearly 1,000 centrifuges, setting back the program by months, if not years. It was a watershed moment. Cyber capabilities could achieve strategic objectives, and Mossad entered the digital battlefield. From Eichmann to Entebbe to covert campaigns against Iran, Mossad's operations have been daring, consequential, and controversial. These operations defined the agency's reputation, a blend of audacity and moral ambiguity. They left a trail of triumphs, tragedies, and questions that echo to this day. Mossad's operational doctrine is built on a foundation of pragmatism and audacity. At the sharpest end of the spear is targeted assassination, what Israel calls negative treatment. Carried out by the elite Kidon unit, these operations are swift, deniable, and devastatingly effective. Magnetic bombs, silenced pistols, poisoned chocolates, booby-trapped phones. The aim is not just to eliminate a target, but to project power and create deterrence. Sabotage is another key pillar, from sending faulty equipment to infiltrating supply chains. This required penetrating global procurement networks to turn a nation's own suppliers into vectors of delay. The backbone of all Mossad operations is human intelligence, infiltration, and recruitment. Recruitment can be based on ideology, money, blackmail, or ego. Mossad is a master of psychological operations. The mystique itself is a weapon. By letting some victories leak, the agency cultivates an aura of invincibility and seeks to demoralize enemies. In intelligence, perception is reality. Mossad crafts a reputation as an all-seeing force. Yet behind the legend lies a human organization, men and women who make mistakes, face ethical dilemmas, and pay a heavy price. The agency elicits both profound admiration and fierce condemnation worldwide. Critics say Mossad operates outside international law. Supporters call it indispensable statecraft. The agency remains polarizing, a guardian to some, a rogue actor to others. In the 21st century, the shadows have gone digital. The modern Mossad is as much an army of hackers and data analysts as it is spies and assassins. Its mission has expanded from stealing secrets out of filing cabinets to exfiltrating terabytes from secure servers. Mossad helped pioneer cyber operations, offensive tools that can physically damage infrastructure, as Stuxnet demonstrated. Today, they protect power grids, financial systems, and water supplies while launching covert attacks on adversaries. They map networks, identify key nodes, disrupt financing, and counter online propaganda. Counter-terrorism now blends cyber tracking with traditional HUMINT, a hybrid discipline. Their targets include state adversaries and decentralized extremist networks: Iran, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, ISIS. This is a forever war of constant vigilance, offensive penetrations, defensive shields, and perpetual disruption. Mossad's cyber units are younger, tech-fluent, and now on the front line of national security. From exfiltrating data to protecting critical infrastructure, their remit is wide and evolving. A successful cyber attack could cripple a nation without a single shot, making Mossad's cyber spies frontline soldiers in a new domain. Ultimately, the story of Mossad is a reflection on the brutal calculus of survival. An agency born from ashes and tasked with protecting a nation that believes it is always one step from annihilation. This singular focus has driven astonishing feats of intelligence and daring, but it has also led to moral compromise and extra-legal action. The world of Mossad is one of profound secrecy, where decisions of life and death are made in the dark, far from public scrutiny. It raises an unsettling but essential question. In the relentless pursuit of survival, what lines must be crossed, and what is the ultimate cost of inhabiting the shadows? The answer remains locked away, deep inside the Silent Institute. Mossad operates in the shadows, where power, secrecy, and survival intertwine.